Hello everybody, Rashad McCrorey here. Today's video is Ghana in danger of going back under lockdown? Is Ghana in danger of reclosing its international borders? Oh no, oh my God. Where this video come from today is that last night, January 17th, 2021, Ghanaian President Nana Akofo-Ado gave his second presidential announcement of the new year. And he highlighted that after the holiday season, COVID cases have begun to rise again in Ghana. What I will do, I will talk for about 8 to 9 minutes, and then I will post the actual presidential address. So go to the description section if you want to skip and go straight to the to the address. Look in the description section, and I will give you the exact number stamp, the time stamp, so you can skip ahead to the message if you like. If you want to hear my commentary, which I value very, very much, you can also hear my commentary and then listen to the presidential address yourself. I would give, just a short snippet in my valuable input. I'm not a medical profession. I'm not a politician, but I do think I have valuable information to share. The video is only 15 minutes, so it's not a long video, and there's a lot of meat in it. He didn't waste words. I really felt like everything he said was important information to hear. So here we go. The basis behind the concern in last night's presidential address is that coming off of the holiday season, COVID cases has risen, especially within young people. The president himself had named events such as parties, nightclubs, weddings, funerals, have been the specific cause, the main cause in the rise of COVID cases in Ghana. He also regretfully announced that the previous death toll in Ghana has risen by 30 people. It went from the 320s to the 350s. Coming from a place like America, where the cases are of deaths are in, I believe, the 300,000 people have passed away due to COVID. We have to keep in mind that the United States is 50 different states, and Ghana is one country, which they say allegedly is only the size of Oregon. I've always been one of the proponents is that they always decrease the actual size of Africa. I'd be surprised if, Ghana is only the size of one of our smaller states, Oregon. So the president have enforced the police. I was going to say something else. The president had made strict warnings to the Ghanaian people and people like me living in Ghana that he will enforce the police to actually enforce mask wearing. He will also make sure that the police and security make sure that places that are open illegally are being closed again, like beaches, pubs, nightclubs, and cinemas. I love movies. I didn't know cinemas was open. I'd have been all up in the cinemas. They want to enforce mask wearing. In the past, I have some great information to share. So give me some time to give you some more. In the past, we've had presidential addresses out here, and he's reinforced the wearing of masks and said the police will reinforce. But this one kind of had a different tone to it. I do believe that especially in major cities such as Takoradi, Accra, Kumasi, I do believe that things will be taken even more seriously. For New Year's, I actually went to Accra, and I was shocked that Labadi Beach was open. And I ran into one of my friends who's actually a pretty prominent person in Labadi Beach, and I asked him how I'm always looking at my television. Sorry. I asked them. I said I didn't know Labadi Beach was still open. I just came by just to see who was at the beach, as far as people who lived on the beach, whether store owners or people who lived on the beach. So he said, he was like, nah, F that S. You know what F that S mean? F that S. We've been open for about 3 weeks now. And this guy, he's a pretty strong guy. He's about 5'9", 5'10". I would say about 150 to 170 pounds, pretty solid. But this time, you know, he was a lot more frail. He didn't look as healthy. In America, you would think somebody was on drugs. But we have to understand in this day in life, in times of COVID, people are losing their jobs. So when you talk about lockdown and closing borders again, he has 2 more days. You have to think about things that President Trump said. You know, the solution can't be worse than the problem. So when we talk about going back into lockdowns and border closing, international border closings, which I brought up, you know, there's economic and livelihoods that are being affected. And what we have to understand is that as borders are open now and people are coming in from COVID-stricken places, the president also announced that they're starting to see different variants and strains of COVID that are coming from the UK. I'm saying the UK and from North America and pretty much the entire Northern Hemisphere. We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what's going to happen next. And in the president's words, we're better being safe than sorry. So maybe this is just the first verbal warning, like, hey, if we don't take this COVID seriously again, it could come back, be worse than before. Let's be careful. It could be politically him covering his back. I am not a medical profession. I'm not a politician. You know, I'm a travel influencer, but you still have the responsibility of taking anything I say under your own risk. And what I will say is that this is a spike due to the holiday season. People are traveling. People were coming home from school. People were already home from school, but people were gathering right after Christmas, New Year's holidays, and now people are going back to school. So the president also went and spoke in detail about being able to keep schools open and being safe while you're in school and making sure that you're there for your studies and not congregating in unsafe ways that may force us to reclose schools. This was probably one of the more stern warnings, even though he didn't come off mean and angry again. I'm probably going to speak for about 1 more minute, and then we'll go into the actual presidential address. I got this from City TV, one of my favorite stations here. I actually been on City TV. And it's something to keep an eye on because, you know, I've been going to events out here. You know, you can find it on my Instagram page. I've been going to events out here, having a great time. I really don't want to see the country go back under strict coronavirus mandates. I do want it to be free country. I have a lot of guests flying out over the next few months to come visit Ghana with our country. So what I will say is watch the presidential address. It's about 15 minutes. Give your own opinion, leave a like, a comment, make sure you subscribe. I hope you are enjoying my YouTube page. I said I'd give myself 3 months, and I said I'd give myself a minimum of 33 videos. So this is week 2. 4 videos in. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more videos today. So enjoy the presidential address. Take what you want from it. Give me some feedback, some comments. Take care. Bye.
The seat of government where the president is currently addressing the nation on measures being put in place by the government to avert a further spread of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Relatively youthful persons with no previous underlying health conditions. The number of confirmed deaths has increased sadly from 338 persons to 352 within the period. Recent genomic sequencing undertaken by our scientists have established that some arriving passengers tested positive for new variants of COVID-19. These passengers have all been isolated. Furthermore, work is ongoing to determine the presence and extent of spread of the new variants in the general population. Detailed investigations of the cases indicate that apart from arriving passengers at our airport who tested positive, infected persons have recent histories of attending parties, weddings, end-of-year office programs, family get-togethers, and funerals. At these gatherings, most of them abandoned the use of the masks and were engaged in actions that led to them contracting the virus. Fellow Ghanaians, at this current rate, whereby 13 out of the 16 regions have recorded active cases, our health infrastructure will be overwhelmed if the situation continues. It will severely undermine the efforts government is making to revitalize the economy and put our nation back onto the path of progress and prosperity following the ravages of the pandemic. On 7th January, as I said, I swore to, and I quote, dedicate myself to the service and well-being of the people of the Republic of Ghana and to do right to all manner of persons, unquote. It is my duty to protect lives and livelihoods. In furtherance of this, I've instructed the Inspector General of Police to direct officers, men and women of the police service to ensure the rigorous enforcement of the law on mask wearing at all public places and in public transport. They are also to ensure the closure of all nightclubs, pubs, cinemas and beaches that may be operating in defiance of the law. They will be assisted by the other security agencies if need be. Persons in marketplaces, workplaces, and operators of public transport must conduct their activities in accordance with the hygiene and safety protocols. The wearing of masks in these places is mandatory. Regulatory agencies will undertake random checks to ensure conformity with COVID-19 rules. Should any facility or institution fail to comply with these directives, its activities will be immediately prohibited and appropriate sanctions applied. It is important that I remind all Ghanaians that severe punishments exist on our statute books for persons breaking the law on the mandatory wearing of masks. Should anyone be arrested by the security agencies disregarding this directive, that person will be dealt with strictly in accordance with law. We do not want to go back to the days of partial lockdowns, which had a negative impact on our economy and on our way of life. But should that become necessary, that is, should the number of active cases continue to increase at the current rate, I will have no option but to reimpose these restrictions, because it is better to be safe than to be sorry. So together, let us all ensure that we respect the protocols. Government is intensifying its strategy of enhanced 3 T's, i.e. tracing, testing, and treating, to allow us to identify infected persons, isolate them, and treat them. A considerable number of contact tracers are being mobilized to follow up on contacts of all who test positive. All laboratories, public and private, must supply in real time data on all persons tested on the common platform established by the Ghana Health Service. There will be sanctions against laboratories who fail to comply. We've also provided additional logistics, including vehicles, to the Ghana Health Service for the supervision and monitoring of asymptomatic cases being managed from home. Additionally, government is reactivating available treatment and isolation facilities across the country in anticipation of any further increase in infections. The provision of adequate medicines, equipment, and personal protective equipment to enable health workers attend to home-based patients is being effected. Fellow Ghanaians, as our children in kindergarten, primary, junior high school, SHS2 and SHS3 resume school from tomorrow, I wish to reiterate that government has taken the required steps to ensure their safety in school. Heads of institutions, as well as their teachers, have undergone the requisite orientation on guidelines for school reopening during COVID-19 to enable them assist with compliance of students with the protocols. I've been encouraged by the preparations being made by many schools, in some cases with the support of their own Students Association and PTAs, in anticipation of the return on Monday. On our part, government has also undertaken the fumigation and disinfection of schools and the provision of sanitizers, masks, liquid soaps, Veronica buckets, rolls of tissue paper, face shields for learners and staff with hearing impairments, and gloves for caregivers and attendants to schools across the country. All senior high schools have been mapped to medical facilities across the country so that any outbreak of the disease in any such school can be duly contained. Suspected cases in primary and junior high schools will be managed by district health teams through the school health program and the COVID-19 rapid response teams. The world is facing a learning crisis, a crisis that is further worsening inequalities in access to education, with children from poorer homes and communities being worst hit. This learning crisis has serious implications for the future of our country. This is especially worrying for me because I have placed education at the center of the social and economic progress and prosperity of Ghana and of her political stability. That is why, in our attempt to mitigate the impact of the pandemic, the CAP Bus initiative, being administered by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, has started disbursements to applicants from private educational institutions, many of whom have been hard hit by the pandemic. More disbursements to these institutions are being processed. And I wish to speak directly to the students and children returning to school, and those of you who have already returned. I know that for most of you, 2020 was a very unfamiliar year and presented a setback for your preparation for the future. You all saw the struggle your parents, especially working parents, went through with you at home due to school closures. You also know how you struggled to learn from home, even for those of you who were lucky enough to continue with some of your classes online. The frustrations, the idleness, the absence of classroom or study group intimacy, it has all been extremely difficult for you, your parents, teachers, and everybody involved. This is something we should all try to put behind us. Much of that depends on you. As we take these big steps to go back to school, your attitude, your behavior, your self-discipline will decide whether or not our schools will remain open. I'm pleading with you. Please observe the COVID-19 protocols at all times. You must maintain the level of discipline and sense of responsibility to stop the virus from spreading in your schools and for those students at home as well. Wear your masks at all times. Wash and sanitize your hands regularly. Protect yourself. Protect each other. Protect your teachers. Protect your parents. But please, do not give me a reason to close down schools again. I pledge to do my best to keep your education going. I want you to assure me, your parents, your teachers, and society as a whole, through your actions that you will do your part as well. Fellow Ghanaians, I urge all of us to continue to live responsibly with the virus, even as we work towards accessing the vaccine. Details of the access and rollout plan will be announced very soon. Let us work constantly on how to do our work, keep our businesses and places of worship open, and send our children to school, all in safety. Government, for its part, is resolved and determined to help ensure that we're able to return to our normal daily routines. That is going to work, going to school, going to shop, going to the market, going to a funeral, going to the pub, going to the club, going to the cinema, going to the beach, going to the stadium, or going to worship. We can achieve this result if we cooperate and work together. It is essential that we protect ourselves, our families, and our loved ones from the virus. It is a collective responsibility. If we embrace the safety protocols, that is the enhanced hygiene and mask-wearing protocols, and we continue to put our faith in Almighty God, we will see the light at the end of this tunnel. 0 active cases. That is the goal.